welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm gonna take you along with me while I make a little craft. I'm doing polymer clay for the first time, but I did buy it from the Dollar Tree, so we'll see how that goes. But the plan is originally to make 3 different clay projects, but I ended up only making 2. So y'all let me know in the comments if you want me to make the third one, which was a cinnamon roll miku. Cinnamon roll and miku. It's very cute. Actually, something like this out of clay. I didn't end up doing that because this was a lot harder than I was expecting, probably because it was Dollar Tree, maybe because you're not supposed to warm up polymer clay with your hands, but I did it anyway. But come along with me and see how it goes. Alright, so this is my reference image for the magnet that I wanted to create. Here I am coloring it in after I drew it from the reference image. I just found this reference from Pinterest. I'm just using my color pencils here to color it in. I really like Turbo Granny's design. I don't know what it is, but just the combination of colors is really eye-catching. The yellow with the little green and the red. I just think it looks really awesome. And I was very, very, very excited to create this. Alright, so this is the reference image I had for the Miku design. I wanted something to match my little cinnamon roll plush I got from Japan, and I found that reference image on Pinterest as well. I thought it was really cute. I messed up coloring in a little bit, but I think I will make that one because it's just so cute. Just showing now how it doesn't stand up, and when I play games at my desk I just knock it over, you know. I just end up hitting my desk or slamming my keyboard or moving my mouse too hard and it'll just fall. So what I did here is that I actually rolled the polymer clay into a ball and put Turbo Granny's feet in it. This was a really bad idea. Do not do this. For one, it would not come off my hand. It just immediately stuck. So it was really difficult to get off. And then now I'm trying to smooth it down with some water on a little paintbrush. And that went okay. But I ended up having to start over the entire process because polymer clay is really hard. I actually recommend watching some tutorial videos before you try it out yourself because this was way harder than I was expecting. I'm actually used to working with regular clay or kiln fire clay, is that what it's called? I have most frequently use that clay because of my previous art classes that I've been in, and I really enjoy it, and it's so easy in comparison to polymer clay. Polymer clay is really hard. So at this point I kind of just put it on the cookie sheet. I had to start over, fast forward a little bit, sticking Turbo Granny's feet in it again. Not a good idea. At this point I had already worked the clay a lot. Something I looked up that can help that not happen is that you can put your clay in the fridge and it will be less sticky and it will cool down from the warmth of your hands, because even the warmth of your hands makes it really difficult to work with. So here I am trying to save it. I don't have a ball stylus, if that's what they're called. so I'm just using the end of a paintbrush. I also have sewing needles because I like to sew. And now I'm making a little grass pattern. I was using like little swirly motions on the clay to make it look like grass because I wanted Turbo Granny to look like she was standing outside, I guess. Making little swirly motions in there. Okay, fast forwarding, I wanted to add some more dimension to her little stand, so I made some little rocks, little spheres, I guess, put them in there. Something I really like about polymer clay that's different from kiln fire clay, is what I'm gonna call it, is that you don't have to score and slip. So basically what that means is putting in little lines and then putting in your slip, which is watered down clay, in the crack in between the two pieces you're trying to connect. Polymer clay is so sticky that you don't have to do that. So if you can see here, I'm pushing down the ball I made with my paintbrush. You don't really need to do that. I looked at a lot of tutorials after the fact, after I had already made these, and they make little faces and they make little chibi things, and they don't score and slip. I guess they just put it on there and it works. It just sticks because polymer clay is very sticky, which is cool. I like that, but it does make things pretty difficult. Alright, so now I'm about to get started making the magnet. I also made a mistake here, first time polymer clay user. I wanted to put magnets in it and I ended up actually spending 45 minutes making the design, making the outline. I made a little ball, I pressed it out on the cookie sheet. That was a bad idea because I need to put the magnets in it, right? And so when I tried peeling it off, I had to completely start over. So this is actually my second try. I have my little magnets there on the cookie sheet, just making my little balls again. I'm not learning that the warmth of my hands is making the clay hard to work with, but hey, if it worked, it worked, you know? Oh, and by the way, this is my Pioneer Woman cookie sheet. I love Pioneer Woman. I don't know why. I have 3 cookbooks. Yes, there are repeated recipes, but yes, they're also all very good. Everything I made has been fantastic. And Pioneer Woman's aesthetic is just so cute. I love the blue with the white speckles. Unfortunately, I was following a Pioneer Woman recipe and I ended up putting something in the broiler, so on the top rack in the oven, with parchment paper on this cookie sheet, and it burnt my Pioneer Woman cookie sheet. I was mad. But hey, I can still use it for clay, and you're probably not supposed to do this, but I can still use it for food too. I obviously washed it pretty well, so don't worry about that. So at this point, I unfortunately did not have everything in frame. So the little legs, there they are. I guess I made those off camera unintentionally, but I think they're pretty cute. My favorite part is the little legs. I don't know why, they're just so cute to me. I love the little legs. Alright, this is what I have now. I've added the bell. I've added the thing right there. Let's see. Just doing my final touches, my final smoothing on this guy right here. Hopefully this turns out. I'm hoping that maybe this one will shrink a little bit so that the feet are like super snug and they can snap in. proud of this guy right now. I'm gonna paint everything on after I cook it. It says I need to cook it. Funny, it says I need to bake it for 15 minutes on 250, so I have the oven preheating right now. Okay, so spoiler, the feet did not snap in on the stand. I ended up having to remove material, and it was difficult. But I just used my fingernail and like scratched it out. So I didn't want to show you all that because no one likes nails on a chalkboard, right? But I did get it to work. I got the feet to fit in there somehow. But now I'm just painting. I'm using my regular acrylic paint that I have that I use on anything. And I'm just putting down a base coat first, and then I'll add more detail later. The paint was not sticking super well to the clay for some reason at first, so I was just doing a little base coat on this guy, and then I'm gonna go in later and put some more details. Alright, now I am taking a pin and putting on this little green part underneath the bell. I'm not sure why I didn't use a paintbrush. It would have been a lot easier and it would have caught the paint a lot better. But hey, if it works, it works. I do end up cleaning up everything at the end or all throughout. I did coats of white actually over Turbo Granny, I didn't just use the actual clay color because I got little lint and everything in there, so I did do a white base coat over the entire thing, and then now I'm going in and painting those details. And I guess I'm going back in with the stand, putting some more color down, making it a little bit more opaque. Like I said, the clay was not taking the paint super well, and you know, I made that design grass texture in there, and the grass texture was not helping the painting process. Alright, camera angle change. Now I'm going in with some yellow for the bell. This part was super satisfying. It was really fun to paint something that you had just created in 3D. It was like, I just made this with my own hands. It's kind of magical how polymer clay works. It's super hard to work with, but the fact that you can just put it in the oven and then it's substantial, it's its own little thing, it's sturdy. I was really impressed by that. And it's from Dollar Tree, so that's very impressive that the Dollar Tree polymer clay was this good. You can see it there on the top right. I actually ended up buying 8 of them and I didn't even use one. So if you do go to the Dollar Tree, the clay, it works. I just followed the instructions on the package, but you probably only need 1 or 2. Don't buy 8. I actually also got that water cut from Dollar Tree too. It has a little stand on the side for paintbrushes and I really like it. My face was in the corner here so you get to see Turbo Granny, but I am doing the black, and this was high stress because this is over white and it was not easily fixed with just a quick, white paint over. This was permanent, and so I'm doing a little trick that I saw online again, that if you breathe in and hold your breath, it steadies your hand while you're painting. So I was able to do these fine details because I was actually holding my breath. You can hear me breathing actually. And I was holding my breath while I was painting the whiskers on Turbo Granny. drawing all these details was really fun. I had a great time, and my little drawing I did off that reference really helped me. It helped me with the proportions, it helped me with not having to look at a screen for hours on end while I was actually working on this. So I definitely recommend drawing a reference image or like printing it out first. That's something I've seen people do online as well, is that they'll print their pictures or reference images and use it to make things to scale, or they'll make it color accurate or whatever they're doing. I highly recommend. Alright, so at this point, I'm just doing the little finishing touches. I'm putting on Turbo Granny's little toes. I'm wrapping things up. I've done many coats of white to touch up where I painted out of my figurative lines where I was trying to paint, you know. I actually did mess up the thing underneath the bell. Of course, the first stroke I did was incorrect. I was using the Turbo Granny figurine as reference. I just noticed that it's up there in frame, but I was using it for reference when painting my magnet because I kind of want some consistency there. It would be nice if they matched a little bit. I do think that some of the colors on the figure are wrong, but that's Timu's fault. That's not my fault. So I just used my reference for the colors and not the figure, but I just did the little finishing touches here. At this point, I was Mod Podging, and I did Mod Podge the stand, but I didn't take a video of it for some reason, but I applied way too much. Don't do that. Put it on small coats. Thin coats. Don't do this. This is so bad. I put way too much on, and I actually did end up losing some of the detail on the magnet that I had created. So there was actually like some indents around the collar area that you can't see anymore because I filled it in with Mod Podge. So don't do this. Do thin coats. I don't know why I decided to just glob it on. I was like, I'm gonna cover everything and then it's gonna be fine. No. Learn from me. Also, Mod Podge sticks to fabric. Next time I work with polymer clay, I think I'm going to end up getting some sort of silicone mat because that was bad. This is the up close final result of the magnet. I think it looked so good. I'm so happy with how it came out. I love seeing it on my fridge every day. It's just so cute. I really like it. Here's a picture of it on my fridge. Here's Turbo Granny on the stand, or Temu Granny on the stand. I like how this came out as well. She's actually functional and she doesn't fall over when I slam my desk, so that's really nice. I did put a little picture. This is what it looks like on my desk, and this is what it looks like with my desk lights on. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video. This is my prized possession now. I keep her on my desk. I love Turbo Granny. I really honestly, I don't know what it is. By the way, fun fact, I did get this from Temu. This part from Temu for $6. Not too bad for Temu. It's a knockoff of a more expensive figure, but it didn't come with a stand, and it would not stand. So I made a stand. I didn't show in the video, but I did end up hot gluing it. My phone had died, so it stopped recording, but I hot glued her feet in there. It was a whole fiasco. She would not stick. I don't know what was going on. Guess she just needed a long time to dry, but I ended up making it work. We got her to stick, and now she lives on my desk, and the other one lives on my fridge. So I get to see them both every single day. And I'm so glad that I got to do this. I would love to do the cinnamon roll Miku, so maybe I'll get to that. We'll see. But thank you so much for joining me for another video. I had a really great time doing this, and maybe I'll do more crafts. Maybe I'll play games. We'll see.